Hello, peoples. I am back, and let's carry on.
I suppose narrow may be a better term for my reaction. I'm sorry if that is incredibly vague, but
that is a bit
imagine
vague,
if a blind pony woke up one morning and could make out the color of one object in the room.
Whoa.
That is what it was like to be me in that moment. And it is a vivid image imprinted on my mind ever since, even after all these years. As the days drew on, so did the spells. I began to understand more and more. I learned more words, though I'd yet learned how to speak. 2 words I knew quite well were master and wolf, and that master was the pony, as I'd come to know he was called, and wolf was me. I do not believe I even knew what a name was. Perhaps I heard his and didn't grasp its meaning at the time. I can't remember. Nor do I remember the first words I actually spoke. I did not begin as capable of speech as I am now. Far from it. If you heard my voice then, you would not recognize it as me.
Oh my, that's a scary thought.
It was a matter of structure. As I said, once I was no different from any other wolf. But while it was far from perfect, I was able to understand and make myself understood. And I believe that was the point Master desired I reach before moving to the next step of his plans for me. Now, there was another pony present with Master.
Oh my goodness,
like Master,
Dr. Wolf looks so happy in this picture. He's like, yeah,
in fact, I know even less about that stallion than I do Master.
On this here.
All I know is that Master seemed to spend a considerable amount of time with him working on spells and books. And I remember my instincts associating Master's behavior towards this pony as akin to how a beta wolf would see its alpha. I also recall the other pony had more hair on his face than Master, even when he didn't wear his second coat. Other than that, he was simply Master's master, and nothing more.
Master's master.
One day, Master presented me to this other pony. Looking back, I think my master began pridefully, then became disappointed, and then ultimately angry. The other pony, he looked at me with emotions that I did not understand much of, as I was so young. They may have been worry, perhaps even pity. I cannot say for sure, but what I can say is that the two argued. Any wolf or dog worth its salt can understand Master is upset, and I was no different. Like any good companion, I tried to comfort Master, but I was ignored. I do not recall all of the details of what transpired next. I remember Master collecting our things and bidding me come. I remember hesitating. While seeing our things be packed up was new and strange.
Oh my!
I hadn't been in that frozen expanse outside of that place since my arrival, as short a time as that had been. Yes, it was still winter. I had sometimes gotten to look outside of the windows on occasion. The snow never ceased. That is part of what made me so reluctant. I knew outside those walls was a place without warmth. A place without life. A place where I last saw my family. An animal's instinct is to be wary of danger, and there are few creatures, whether sapient or non-sapient, who do not feel anxiety over leaving the only home they ever knew. But Master was the only family I have ever known, the one who'd save me from death. He was the only pack that I knew, and that overrode my anxiety and fear. Not knowing what awaited me, I followed him out into the bitter cold, endless winter. For the first time since I'd been saved, I felt the full brunt of the raging blizzard. No more was there a warm fire burning, nor shelter from the roaring winds. It was deafening, an endless roar. The snow was far deeper than I'd ever remembered, and I was still quite small. I remember a
Aww.
distinct sense of danger. That storm terrified me in ways
Well, at
I do
least
not
that
think
helps
it is
somewhat.
possible for me to describe.
Just
It was
hide out in the
like
carriage, Doc.
there was
It'll be
something
alright.
lurking out there in the snow and white. It was instinct, and instinct isn't always rational. We traveled far, very far. Each night we found refuge, and Master started a fire. He continued the spells, and began to teach me a new skill each stop. One of these was reading.
Yay,
Master
reading!
ingrained in me a sense of that skill being extremely important to what was coming. While it was an entirely new experience for me, I believe it came easier to me than spoken language because it was a constant. A sentence spoken needs to be repeated for you. A sentence read does not. It simply needs reread. I wish I could say the first book I read is one I treasure to this day, but I cannot recall even one sentence of it, let alone
I
a
can't recall
title.
a sentence of the first book
I've
I ever read either,
many,
Doc.
many books in my lifetime. So many that to name them all would take an eternity.
Mm-hmm.
So, sadly, the first one has been lost in the fog of time. I cannot tell for sure how long that journey and those lessons took. I know that it was far longer than our time staying at the Master's den. Long enough that I began to grow bigger. But no matter how long or hard the journey became, I never once thought of leaving his side.
The doctor has a little
He was
backpack.
all I had
That's
ever
cute.
known. Canines are known for their loyalty, I suppose. As we and time marched onwards, I began to notice a serious change in that world around us. The snow slowly ceased.
Whoa.
At least that is how I perceived it. I began to see green plants.
Grass.
Well, at the
and
time
trees.
they looked more of a blue or a shade of gray. I couldn't yet see the color green, but I still knew that they were something new to me. I saw the sun in full clarity for the first
Oh my
time
gosh,
in my
that
life.
picture's awesome.
I felt its warm light on my fur. I saw its sister body, the moon, and naturally my instincts drew me to it. Yes, at the time I did howl to it, though these days I prefer sitting out watching the moon while listening to Claire de Lune. Master's second fur disappeared for good. Well, I doubt they happened all at once, but that's how my mind recalls it. However, our journey did not end. Finding a warm place where all was green was not what we had come for. What may have been the true goal of our trek I still did not know even to this day. I can't even begin to guess. But I remember 2 words, simply due to endless repetition. Library and alone.
Well, we're gonna have to see what library and alone means in part 3. Laters!